It's one of the most famous castles in Europe, its image carefully copied by Walt Disney for his fairy tale theme parks. Built by an insane Bavarian king over a period of 20 years, Schloss Neuschwanstein, or Neuschwanstein Castle, was completed in 1886 as a retreat for King Ludwig II. Essentially a stage set based on Ludwig's obsession with the operas of Richard Wagner. It is near the village of Schwangau, 2,620 feet or 800 meters up in the alpine foothills of southwest Bavaria, close to the Austrian border. Its World War II history is a good deal darker and more sinister than its fairy tale appearance belies. Hitler and other top Nazis devoted a lot of time and energy to looting art from occupied countries. Hitler dreamed of creating a Führer museum in Linz, Austria, while Hermann Goering, the corpulent head of the Air Force and deputy Führer, amassed a vast collection using his own Luftwaffe art looting unit. Some of Goering's major targets were Paris museums, and much pillaged art was shipped to Germany from Paris. Another major player was Nazi ideologue Alfred Rosenberg, who had his own looting unit, the ERR, Einsatzstab Reichsleiter Rosenberg. Vast quantities of loot were sent to various collection centers in Germany for storage and distribution, but the Führer Museum was never to become a reality, as the war situation meant that art treasures were now in danger of being destroyed by bombing or lost in the chaos of Germany's defeat. The Allies also realized that Europe's cultural heritage was under threat, and they formed the Monuments and Fine Arts Commission, better known today as the Monuments Men, an Anglo-American unit of art experts charged with finding and saving looted art. The liberation of Paris in late August 1944 provided a lead on one of the greatest hoards stolen from France. The curator of the Jeux de Paume Museum, Valland, had pretended to cooperate with the Germans and kept detailed records on the art they stole. Valland also worked out where the art was being shipped to. Neuschwanstein Castle was soon identified by the Monuments Men as a major target for investigation. Rosenberg had made Neuschwanstein Castle the headquarters of the ERR because of its location on the Bavarian-Austrian border, one of the last places the Allies would reach. It was remote from Allied bombing, and though looked medieval, had central heating, modern lavatories, and plenty of storage space. An astonishing 21,000 items were sent to Neuschwanstein, from old master paintings to jewelry to antique furniture, worth tens of billions of dollars today. A race now developed between the Monuments Men and the SS who guarded the castle. By April 1945, US troops were conquering Bavaria. It was only a matter of time before they reached Schwangau and its fairy tale castle above the village. No longer able to transship treasures via the castle, the loot piled up to extraordinary proportions. The question was what to do with it all. The Monuments Men feared that the Germans might destroy it rather than surrender the art to the Allies, and in this they were partially correct. In late April 1945, the SS had held a meeting. It was proposed that Neuschwanstein Castle be blown up to prevent its capture by the Americans, in the process deliberately destroying the priceless art. By now the US Army was close. Advancing towards the Füssen area where Neuschwanstein Castle is located was the US 6th Corps. Leading the assault was the US 10th Armored Division, which met stiff resistance at Riedhausen, but after overcoming this, pushed on a further 23 kilometers to Oberammergau, scene of the world-famous Passion Play. At the same time, further to the west, elements of Combat Command B of the 10th Armored Division entered the Neuschwanstein Castle area. Advancing cautiously upon the castle high over Schwangau village, US troops realized that the building was intact. The SS detachment had just pulled out, their commander refusing to carry out his orders to demolish the building. Monuments Man First Lieutenant James Rorimer had earlier placed a phone call to the 6th Army Corps, and the order had been given placing the castle off limits. No 10th Armored Division troops were permitted to enter the castle until Rorimer arrived to survey it. On the 1st of May, Rorimer, arrived in a jeep driven by Corporal John Skilton and raced up to the castle. Himself, Skilton, and a small unit of 10th Armoured Division soldiers, weapons drawn and ready, entered the castle and cautiously moved from room to room to secure it. Some rooms were stacked floor to ceiling with crates stamped ERR. Almost all the space in the castle, except the throne room and some of the state apartments, were crammed with art. Not only looted art from France, but 1,300 paintings from other Bavarian castles, large collections from Munich museums, and the private collections of the former rulers of Bavaria, the Wittelsbach family. This immense treasure trove required years to catalogue. Just one shipment of French items numbering 6,000 pieces required 1,221 crates loaded aboard 36 freight cars to send them back to Paris. The treasures at Neuschwanstein Castle, though enormous, were but one secret hoard, recovered through the work of Allied forces and in particular the Monuments Men. Neuschwanstein Castle survived the war intact due to an SS officer changing his mind at the 11th hour, and today is visited annually by over 60,000 people. But its World War II history is today not spoken of, and hardly any tourist knows of its extraordinary place in the history of the war. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and share, and also support my channel at PayPal and Patreon. Details in the description box below.